Okay. Originally, I was just gonna make a tier list and post on Twitter. But a lot of my friends don't actually know a lot about this game, and thus won't know any of my reasoning without me having to explain it. So, I'm doing a tier list. With the game closed and all, we're not getting anything new, so it's just rate what we got, basically, and all the good that comes with that. There is a lot here, so I won't go into every single placement. Just the important ones, though. Because there's, 210 images in here. This is going to be a long tier list. This tier list has nothing to do with gameplay. That tier list will be done with Ashius. If you know him, you know him. But this is just a Arbiter personal opinion tier list, which is also sort of influenced by gameplay, but only for some of them. There are some characters that I would not have been endeared to without them being good, and I think that's as sad as it is funny. So let's start with the Frams. And I will be rating each variant on their own merits, because they are technically different characters, but because I like Lyrae, the base rating for Lyrae is probably significantly higher. Okay, so the Frams. We're gonna go ahead in. I don't want to do release order because I don't really know release order for the first 3 years of the game, but I think we'll just go original variant first. So we're gonna do Water Fram. I really like Fram. That's really it. She's endearing. I like that she's an actual character with actual motivations. It definitely endeared me to her early on, which, since she's the first character you get in the game, you need that. She's a Guardian. She's also the first character you get in the game, so she wasn't that good when the game died. But you know what? We don't care about the gameplay in this tier list. We're going to put her in really like. Fire Fram. I'm going to put her in I love tier. Not for any specific reason. But she, mind you, these tiers will barely be used. You'll see why. But, I am just endeared to Fire Fram specifically. I don't know what it is. I just really like her. She is a mercenary. That's fun, right? Yeah. Oh, she helped me get through 1116 my first time, and I think that's why I'm so endeared to her. Because she's... I mean, was it me who got through 1116 with her? I don't remember. It's been so long. It's been years, actually, at this point. But no, I just like Fire Fram. Even if she's not that good, I just like her. Earth Fram. She goes with her water sister because I am... Oh, you know what? I'm gonna add a tier above this. I'm going to make it... a blue, and I'm going to make it a like tier, right? And that's where Earthframe goes. I think she's okay. She is a character in this video game. I think she is alright. She is basically endearing, and in gameplay, she makes up for her lackluster story presence. To be fair, most characters have lackluster story presence, but that's just because, of how the game was. But that's not... It's not really... I wonder if you guys can see that in OBS. You might be able to. This is not professional. Yeah, no, Earth Frame's okay. Light Frame. It's been 4 minutes and we're not through Frame yet. It's Light Frame. She can go with Water Fram. I like her. She is Fram but blonde, and I like blondes. That is... I mean, she's just Fram. It's just Fram again. It's the rare example of where she's barely changed as a character, but she's changed just enough. I might actually put her in front of her water sister here. Dark Frame goes into I love this character tier. I mean, all the Camelot characters are going here. Spoilers. But, she's really good. her personality is striking immediately. Probably because she's, like, still noticeably Fram, but, like, in a much more twisted way. It is impossible to not like any of the Camelot characters because of the fact that they're the Camelot cast. And I think she makes that especially clear, as she is also the right-hand woman of, Time Lord or whatever the fuck their name was. It's been so long. Now we're on to the Johans. Light Johan. Immediately into I love this character tier. He took me on a journey. Light Johan did. He is this is my hot take this century. Probably the most well-written character in the first arc. I think that's a hot take, but I'm sticking with it. The most well-written character in the first arc, I think. Like, he is really solid. Part of that is because of his other version, which we'll get to him. But, he's really good. We're going to go with Water Johan now. He goes into like tier. You know what, actually, no, because I like him, but I'm kind of indifferent to him as well. Well, that's kind of just the epitome of mixed, huh? That's a funny juxtaposition. Water Johan, he exists. He is a Knight of Isola, and I like Isola, so I like him. But at the end of the day, there's not really much about him. He's just Johan again, but this time he's loyal to another country. And Dark Johan is Johan again, but this time he's loyal to another country, and they already did that plotline really well. And with Johan, Water, there's no conflict with that. He's just Johan again. Like, it's interesting. I like the idea presented with Water Johan, but it's just, it's not the most striking. It's just okay. Fire Johan goes into like tier. He is one of the characters, I feel. Like, he is probably a character that if you've never played Lord of Heroes, you know Fire Johan specifically, and that's weird to say, but for some reason, I just know a lot of people know him. He is eccentric, and I think that's what makes him so interesting to me as a character. He also keeps the glasses. Yeah, the other Johan alts have glasses on their first, and except Dark Johan, who doesn't. But these alts, and I obviously can't check that anymore, so you have to take my word for it. But these guys lose their glasses. Fire Johan keeps his, and it's really interesting. Like the kind of, I'm actually gonna move him into. No, he'll stay there. He brings up this lore bit. You apply for a role in Lord's army, Monarch Kun, and you fight based on that. It's a really interesting bit of lore that doesn't really get expanded on, because it can't, because it happened in the optional side scene of a character you used to have to pay to get, but he became free later, so it's a lot to explain. If you know what Wandering Heroes are, you know Fire Johan was one of them, and yeah, okay. Earth Johan, really like. Probably one of the most infamous Wandering Heroes, because he is broken. His whole gimmick is he wants to be a chef. He sucks at it. He's kind of indifferent to being a knight. He's really fucking good at it, and I'm gonna stop with the cursing. It's late at night, I'm sorry. Sorry, Silkworm. Calling out Silk. Johan specifically. It's really funny that he's just... It's the just complete departure from other Johans that endears him to me. Because it's still my boy, but he's different. Which is the juxtaposition of this game. It's like the whole point. Dark Johan, yup, top of this tier. He is brilliantly written. Like, it is insane how well written he is for a mobile game character. Legitimately insane. And Hugo before her, obviously, is genuinely insane. This goes for the entire Camelot cast, how well written they are. He is a paragon among paragons, how well written he is. It is genuinely insane. This good of a character is now locked behind a dead mobile game. It's infuriating, even. But what makes him so compelling is the fact he's not your Johann. He's a sword of the Empire, and that's all he's been. He didn't grow with you like this boy did. Or you know, this boy, or not this boy. I've already mentioned that. I'm gonna move you down here. And in Dark Johann, he basically, I don't want to say groomed, because it's not, that has a connotation I don't want to ascribe to him, because he commits mass genocide, but, well, technically he reversed it, so, you know, that's saying, you know, it balances out. He also gets nepotism. Nepotism privileges in nightmare mode. He's fun. He's fun. I could make a whole ass video on Dark Johann. I genuinely could. He's that compelling, but there's 200 characters here, and we just only got through 10 of them. I have to move on, otherwise this video is going to be way longer than it is already going to be. On to the Charlottes. We're going to move to the Earth one first. She will go into the top of really like. I don't think she's quite in love tier, but she is really good. Like, I resonate with her character arc a lot because I also feel quite useless. But she's endearing. She's cute. That's her thing. I don't really have much to say on most of the Charlottes, or at least the default Charlotte, because she's just there, kinda. But I mean, it's a good there. Like, I think the story is enhanced with having her in it, which is why she's here. Water Charlotte. I am very biased. You know what? Hold on. We'll add another tier. We'll add another tier. We'll add another tier, and we will make it green, and we will make it a really like for biased reasons. There we go. And I actually think I might move that down to below really like, because I think that's fair. And we'll capitalize that. But anyway. Water Charlotte goes there. I really like Water Charlotte. I think it's the best color scheme for Charlotte. Brown hair with red eyes. I think it's the best color scheme for most characters. This is my other hot take. I know, as the redhead enjoyer, people are going to be like, what? You like brown hair? But yes, I do. I really like brown hair, especially on Charlotte. It looks really good on her. And that's the thing. Her blue dress also looks really good. I'm not going to edit this video, but like, if you can look up Water Charlotte and still find hits, because it was a game for 6 years. So there's hits for it. Look that up. It looks really good. I don't know what else to say. Let's see. Fire Charlotte, she goes into like. I like her character. I might even really like her character. But she is the manipulative, kind of lying character, kinda. And I wouldn't really say fully manipulative, but she does lie a lot. And I kinda am quite tired of that kind of character at this point. Especially after writing those kinds of characters myself. But she is... she's just good. She's good in the game. She's entertaining. So she goes in like tier. Light Charlotte, again, really like for biased reasons. She is very cute. I think I still prefer how Water Charlotte looks. Light Charlotte is still pretty good, I would say. But she's not, you know, like, spectacular in that department. I just like her. She's also a really interesting type of cleric, but that can be saved for the actual proper tier list video. Dark Charlotte, she goes in mixed because I don't know anything about her, but she's a Charlotte, so she goes in mixed. I have nothing more to say. It's Dark Charlotte. She's a sad character, but I mean, it's Dark Charlotte. There's not much to say. Oh, and spoiler alert. Yeah, so this already isn't going well. Schneider, I Yeah, I'm being a little mean. I am, like... I'm not... I don't dislike Schneider. I did for, like, the first little bit I played the game, but he grew on me over time. He is a fanboy who really wants to be a knight, and that should endear me because he is literally me and all that nonsense, and I'm sure that's going to be my comment section, but it's... He's... yeah, he's... okay. And here's your first mild dislike, everybody. And your second. They offer nothing... Well, no, I'll put Fire Schneider in mixed. He's actually a story character. He can go in mixed. And it's just Schneider again, but more hot-headed. So you know what? He goes in mixed because he's more annoying. He offers nothing. He is not a character. He does not exist in the story. In any story, for that matter. He exists in the Chronicles to be bought to buff your hero list up +1. That is his existence. He is not good. He is not useful for anything. His character is, as far as I know, just Schneider again. Which, you already know how I feel about characters that are just other characters again. So it's just like... he just exists. And then Dirk Schneider also goes in like, because he's... Actually, he goes in really like, because he's Schneider with character development. And that makes him good. Because Schneider, as a base concept, is good. But you actually develop his character, and he gets to this, and it's good. And it's effective, because they are good at character writing. They were really good at character writing. Light Schneider goes here. He was the debut Glorious Arena hero. Whoa, new content, and you can buy a new hero. And I spent real-life money on him. You will see that. I guarantee you half this list I've spent real-life money on at some point. No, probably not half. That's a gross overestimate, but yeah, no. I'm gonna get a drink. Hold on. Let's talk about Schneider. Alright, boys. I got a whole fucking thing of Sunny D. Let's do it. Because I'm spiritually 10 years old. And now we have the Sunny D. Woo. And people are gonna get annoyed with me for being, like, biased against Schneider, but I actually think I've been pretty nice to Schneider, considering... considering everything going on. I think I've been pretty nice about Schneider. I actually think I could have been less nice. So don't push your luck on the Schneider front. On the Hero Schneider cut. We're moving on to Mei Ling. Fire Mei Ling immediately endeared me. She's cute. That's all there really is. I'm like, that's all she needed to be. That was an error. That's all she needed to be, really. She's cute. She kind of foreshadows the big twist of normal mode, which is the time travel that creates all these paradoxes that made this shit happen. So, I mean, she's there. Yeah, there's not really much I can say. It's Mei Ling. This is Mei Ling, but better, so she goes in really like. And this is Mei Ling, but better, so she goes in really like. I mean, it's Mei Ling. She's a good character, consistently good. I feel like they would have played with her more once they actually got to the Far East, and like all the karma stuff came full circle that she does. I could, again, make a whole video on Mei Ling. I could make a video on every character, but, well, the point of that... I think I do have footage of every character in some way, so I could do that. So I might, but it depends. I'll think about it. Earth Mei Ling. She goes in I love this character tier for the specific reason of making PvP a joke. And I hate PvP. So naturally, if a character comes around that makes it so I don't have to play PvP, I really like her. And that's what she does. She petrifies the enemy so I don't have to play. So I didn't have to play. I have to start speaking in the past tense. Oh my gosh. She petrifies so I don't have to play the game. That is it. And then Watermailing. She goes in really like for biased reasons because she is kind of like artsy-fartsy Mailing, which I normally wouldn't like, but she's also got the bicolor eyes and the blonde hair, and that's really cute. And you know, it just works for her, so she goes in really like for biased reasons because I'm biased. Yeah. Dark Mikhail, he goes in the same tier as most of the starting knights. He is okay. And I know it's like, you put a guy who's just okay for you and really like, you do not understand. He is okay in the sense that by normal mobile game standards, he'd be the best written character, and by this game standards, he gets some moderate character development, and that is really compelling over the course of the first arc. But the issue with character development in Lord of Heroes is that it kinda stops at certain points early on, and then it continues pretty consistently, but he's hard to describe, really, because, you know what, I'll just put him really like, you know what, I'll even dump him down to really like for biased reasons. So that way, yeah. Yeah, you guys are probably wondering who's going here, and you're surprised it wasn't Schneider. So, who could be the worst character, right? You'll see. And here is Earth Mikhail. He goes in mixed tier because he is Earth Mikhail, and he does not have a presence. He is a T character. I believe he's the first T character on this list, unless I'm misremembering, which is genuinely possible, and I don't care if I am. So, Earth Mikhail, he was buffed at some point, but he's just really bad. But he was really bad for most of the time I had him, so I never built him, and I never endeared myself to him, so he goes in mixed. But I see the potential of a character I really would have liked, and so he goes in mixed here. Fire Mikhail goes in like. There's not much to say. They double down on Mikhail's good traits, and they just make a good character. But he's not as present as normal Mikhail, so he goes there. Water Mikhail, this is, I'm hovering around this area. I think he goes here. Water Mikhail is a character that exists in this video game. He is good. He was good for a while. For a while, he was the meta. But eventually, a character that comes up later kind of rewrote the entire meta on his drop. And, no, he won't go there. But, you know, honestly, I wouldn't be wrong putting him there. But yeah, no, he's there. He's cool. Oh, hey, cool. We get to tackle that later. Fire Zyra, she goes in like, she is okay. And she's okay by Lord of Heroes standards. She's good in every other mobile game she'd ever be in, but she's okay in this game. But she has a strong reason to be in the game, and I feel like I should put her in really like for biased reasons because of that. Like, her existence in this game is completely consistent with the game's theming. And so, at least her base version should be here, I feel. I think Zyra's whole thing with, like, serfdom and inequality and slavery, that's good stuff, and it deserves, and it gets her at least here. So, as Light Zyra said, hey, speaking of Light Zyra, yeah, she goes in really like, she's Zyra but better. And you'll find a lot of the extreme mode characters are just their normal mode counterparts, but better. And Light Zyra is doubly that, because Fire Zyra is also in hard mode. And Fire Zyra is barely a character in hard mode, because there was no real reason for her to be there in hard mode, honestly. Like, that might be a hot take, but she's just, like, not as central to the narrative as she was in normal. Maybe that's because, like, in normal mode, you get her for free, and they wanted to, like, justify the fact you get her at the end of Rodin. I don't know, but Light Zyra is just better. She's the same character, but better. Water Zyra, for biased reasons, she's really good. And that's why she's here. She also has the best color scheme out of the Zyras. And no, that is not an Aryan joke. I just genuinely think the white armor works best for the color contrast. And that's why she's there. And Earth Zyra also goes in really for biased reasons. Yeah, you see a consistent reason here. And Earth Zyra, I just like her. I think she had the potential to be good. Because Water 9 also got a buff, and he was also a guild hero. But at the end of the day, she didn't really meet that same potential that I kind of wanted her to meet. So that kind of soured me on her, but I still really like her. Dark Zyra. And I bet you're expecting me, because she's dark, to be like, oh, she's super tied with the Camelot cast, so she's good. She's really tied with like Chrom, so I love her, and she goes right into I love this character. We never got her. We never got her, and it is frustrating because the opinion I just shared that you think I have is the one I have. She is really good. She's a really good part of Nightmare. But oh god, so many. She is a really strong part of Nightmare, but she doesn't exist. So I can't really rate her compared to all the characters that do exist. And, we're playable characters. And, we're intended to be playable characters. So, Dark Zyra also has stuff in the files. But Dark Olivia also had stuff in the files for a year. So, you know what? Who cares? Moving on to Helga. Water Helga goes into mixed. I am mixed on Water Helga, because Water Helga is kinda just... spoiler alert, DK Helga isn't really liked here. Water Helga is alright. She is the standard type of mentor-ish older character, and I think there are other characters that do that role better than her, and so she works way more as the hothead she is as DK Helga. And I feel it's unfortunate that she is in the same game as that character. Yeah, okay. That's where I'll end it. Dark Helga, same character with angst, she goes in like. I like the changes they made to Dark Helga, and I think you're laughing, because there wasn't much changed in appearance. You can tell looking at them side by side which one's which. In-game, it's very hard. And I think that's why they started coloring her hair, because they realized it's really hard to tell. So, yeah, no, DK Helga's just Helga, but better. Dark Helga is just Helga, but better. She has the angsty past, the thing with the dragon hunting, that's really compelling, and it fits with the kind of darkish nature of hard mode that's meant to criticize the whole going back in time and being wow, look at how worse everything is, kind of for certain characters, and how it turned out kind of bad for some that normally had great lives, and now their lives are worse because of your actions. It's meant to make you feel bad for the big hard mode twist, where it actually is because of your actions and your betrayal, but she's there. Light Helga goes in really for bias reasons. Same reason I like DK Helga, or fucking again, Dark Helga. Same reason I like Dark Helga. She's Water Helga, but better. But Light Helga actually has a character and gets character development, so she goes in really for bias reasons. Fire Helga, she goes there. Same reasons Water Schneider. She is not a character that exists in this video game. Get her out of here. She is worthless. Oh boy, the best character in the game. Yeah, Astrid, spoiler alert, all the story mode Astrids go in this tier, including the Nightmare one. All of them go here. Yeah, because it's Astrid. It's the same character. It's putting Astrid anywhere other than top tier is a sin, honestly, because of just how tied Astrid is to you, you, the player, because she remembers all the past. And then Light Astrid is kind of... Light Astrid obviously goes to the top because she's Camelot. But she goes above Dark Fram, honestly. But the Astrids in general are really good. Water Astrid is Astrid, so I like her, but she doesn't have a character, so it's... she's there. Alright, and Olivia. Yeah, I should talk more about Astrid. Astrid is a thing of the Empire. She imposes you initially, and in the first timeline, she's kind of just a battle junkie. Everything after that, it kind of reveals her true nature as, a actual, it's implied she's an isekai protagonist. And again, I would love to make a video on her, but because I just don't have time. It's 30 minutes in, and we're just now getting done with Astrid. So we're gonna move on. Olivia, Green Olivia, you get her for free, and she's there in normal mode. She gets, she is, she actually gets mixed. She is, you get her for free for logging in 7 days. She's okay in game, and as a character, she's also just okay. So she goes in mixed. But her other versions, on the other hand, Light Olivia goes here. Because, again, like all the story mode variants, she's Olivia, but better. But the thing with Light Olivia is she's actually worth a damn. That's all. She's too expensive, though, I will admit. She was one of the characters I didn't get. And I was going to make a whole didn't get this character tier, and I probably should. Thinking about that for a second. You know what? I will go ahead and make a didn't get this character tier. And not a lot of characters are going to go in here, but it is necessary to have, I think. And not a lot of characters are going to go here because I only didn't get 9 of them. So, I think it was 9. I think we had 189 characters. Yeah. And I had 180. So, which is an insane amount, by the way. And we're going to put her in didn't get this character. But the things I say about her still stand. Water Olivia is my favorite Olivia. And it's kind of sad to say that because she is... Can I make this smaller? No. Okay. Guess I'm going to have to do this. Yeah, great. Because of that. All right. Cool. And I think that Water Olivia in general is kinda I like her appearance, and she is in the story, so, and she does have this really good tie with Cardis, but I think if I didn't like her color scheme, I wouldn't like her, and so she goes into really, for biased reasons. Dark Olivia goes right into that tier as well, because she does have a bit of story in Records of Camelot, but it is another appearance thing, and as shallow as that is, this tier is starting to get really big. I think that's kind of important to mention. Fire Olivia can go with her boyfriend. That was an instinctual thought. She's good for the same reason Fire Mikhail is. She doubles down on Olivia's good traits, and ain't that crazy, these two are shipped. And also in Korea, for some reason, Mikhail and Charlotte are shipped. That's pretty popular there. I couldn't tell you why, but maybe it's because they're both elves. They don't even like race mixing in Korea. Alright, so... ironic, because Charlotte is a product of race mixing. We're going to move on. Watercrom goes in I think he goes a little ahead in actually. He's a character in this video game that is compelling, and that's all I can really say about him. You'd have to play the game for yourself. Firecrom goes in here. No, I'm kidding. I put him in mixed. He's a character that exists, but doesn't really... He doesn't really, because he's a contract hero. And unlike Blue Crom, who was also a contract hero, Firecrom does not get any story reference. So you know what? He goes there. I'm mixed on him. Dark Crom goes into really like for biased reasons. And look at that, the tier list is already getting bigger. I don't think he's I don't think he's I don't know. I like him. I like him for the same reasons I like Crom, but I like his role in combat better, and I like his role in the story more, so he goes there. But he is compelling for the same reasons Crom is. Like Crom's Camelot, so he goes here. I don't think I need to elaborate on why, but he completely shifts what Crom is, and it does kind of fuck with me a little, and so he goes there. And he's just as compelling as all the other Camelot characters. And I said I wouldn't curse, but it's been half an hour. And we're just now getting into, like, oh, Earthcrom goes into here. I have nothing else to say. He just goes there because he's, I just like him. He's a good Earth commander, and that was, like, we needed that, honestly. We really needed that, because our best Earth commander was Oswald for a bit. And now you know why we needed that. So, oh yeah, Oswald's here. So, now Lyrae. I am infamous in my Discord for really liking Lyrae to an unnecessary degree. And yes, it is for the reason you think. But I do genuinely find her compelling in her later versions. I'm putting this in really like for bias reasons. As painful as it is to do that, that is more accurate. But she goes there. I'm just biased to Lyrae, and you know what? Blue Lyrae also goes there, and as much as it pains me to do it, you know what? I'm gonna break my own rules. Earth Lyrae goes here. I don't think I would have made it that far in this game without Earth Lyrae. She was like my quintessential unit for a good while. She was my go-to striker. She did all my damage. She fought in every raid, even the fire one. She was my rock for me starting the game in 2023 or so, when I was in high school. Jesus, was it 2024 or 20? It had to be 2023. It was 2023. So she was like my rock in the game early on, so I kind of had to keep her there. Dark Lyrae and Light Lyrae. Guess where they're going? Yep, they're going into love this character tier. For one, same reasons as the other characters. They're just better versions. But I really like Light Lyrae's like reluctant Grand Chief role and how she takes it in stride and all that. Dark Lyrae goes like next to Astrid. I don't think she's better than Astrid, but like my bias says she is, but I don't think she is. Dark Lyrae's like Tale on Grief is so good, and it gets even better when Lion comes in, and we'll get into Lion when I get to him. But it gets so good when Lion comes back into the story. Well, not comes back, introduced into the story during Forbidden Tower, and he's there, and it gives so much necessary depth to Lyrae's character, and it makes her so much more interesting. It's great. And it's like, why are you putting a character that relies on another character to be good? Technically, this character also relies on another character to be good, so you know what? I win. And anyway, I love tackling straw men instead of actually arguing. Dark Lucilica. She goes in like, because she is Lucilica, so she is good, but I do not have a particular opinion on Lucilica. There you go. Okay. Light Lucilica, she goes here, primarily because of her adorable relationship with Charlotte and how that finally gets payoff. In Extreme Mode, it's really good. It's good stuff. I love it. Fire Lucilica is just Lucilica, but a sadist. Yeah, I'm kidding. But she goes in like. I do like her. She's fun. She is a character in this video game. I'm saying that a lot, and I hope you understand. I'm saying that a lot because I just think it's necessary to say that a lot, that she's really she is interesting to me, and I find her very interesting. So we're gonna keep her there. You know, just yeah, she goes there. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. She just goes there, and yeah, we're gonna move to we're gonna move to Earth Lucilica, who goes in mixed because she is a character I'm mixed on. She is another contract character, so she doesn't get a lot of necessary, like extremely necessary, I say, story relevance because how do I explain this without sounding mentally ill? She is important for the same reasons all the other Lucilica variants are important, and that's just it. Water Lucilica also goes in mixed, I think. I like her design more, so I'm tempted to put her there, but I don't really like her, so she goes above her little sister here. Rosanna! Get ready for this tier to get bigger! Earth Rosanna goes into Top of Loves. And Earth Lyre, speaking of, also goes behind Camelot, but not above my literal favorite character in the game. Earth Rosanna, you know what, gets a tier of her own. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I really like Earth Rosanna. I'm going to find her own special good girl color. She gets purple, because that's my favorite color. I did that wrong. I had to add one. Yeah, there we go. She gets her own special tier. She gets her own special little tier with purple because it's my favorite color, and she gets the favorite character tier. Is that how you spell character? Yes, I believe. Okay. Yeah, she goes there. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone who knows me. Like, Earth Rosanna being my favorite isn't a surprise. Let's get on to the actual thing, because her character doesn't exist. It is biased, but, you know, she's there. Yeah, she goes here. And spoiler alert, let's just get this out of the way. They're all going here. And actually, Light Rosanna goes there. But every other Rosanna is going here. I just like Rosanna quite a bit. And that's all I have to really say on her. She is interesting because of, like, the mermaid heart thing, but I'd need to go deeper into it into another video, and it's so long already, so we're going to have to go a little faster. Alright, we're going to go with Fire Aslan, and he is like tier because I like him. Dark Aslan goes into really like tier because he is super compelling. Like, so compelling, I don't really want to, like, go into it right now. Again, I might make an Aslan video, but he's so good. So he goes there, and I need to, like, what am I doing? Water Aslan is just Fire Aslan, but better, but not better Dark Aslan. He's just a better guiding figure, and I think that works better for him. Yeah, you know, same reason. Mild dislike. Well, no, he's good, so he can go in mixed. He's a good support for Prince Cardus. Prince Cardus. So, yeah. So he can go there. But yeah, no, that's Aslan. Light Aslan, wouldn't you know, unreleased. We have that image because of comments, and that is it. Light Aslan is a character that I really like, but well, no, I don't like him at all. What am I saying? You can tell I'm tired. Light Aslan does not exist, so I can't comment on him, and he's unreleased. So he goes there. Light Moo. As there can't be any other Moo, she goes in I love this character, and spoiler alert, so does Lambda. She does not go in unreleased, she was released. The Chronicles terminals, I'll just group them together because the game groups them together. they are stellar characters because they are effectively the other main character, kinda. And it's like most people say that's Fran, but I do think it's her because she is the like literal Chronicles terminal. Like she has insight into everything. She has all the knowledge of the world. That's pretty cool. And then Lambda is her with a little spunk. So they're both here. And I think I like Lambda a little more. So we're going to put her there. A lot of this stuff is opinions, like I said. Like the fucking the like actual proper tier list with Ashius is going to be a hell of a video, man. Lumi, oh boy, Yiv, go easy on me. I am putting her, here. She goes in mixed, because Blue Lumi, no, because of hard mode, I think she goes in like, I like her dynamic with 9, I think it adds a little bit of necessary depth to her character, and it gives her, like, a good buddy, like, she has a buddy, a proper buddy, and she needs a buddy to work. Like Water Lumi specifically needs a buddy to work. Fire Lumi is a contract hero, so she goes in mixed, but if she wasn't, she'd go here, because she has no purpose. And Earth Lumi also goes here. Dark Lumi, by contrast, goes right up here, because she's a really good character. Again, noticing a trend. But she is really good in game. Well, not really good. She's good if she's what you have. Which is true for every character, I guess, but she's good if she's what you have. Like, if you don't have this, if you didn't have this was your next best bet for just a 5 times damage striker in that element. But yeah, no, she's good in gameplay, and she's compelling, so she goes here. Okay, Fire Durahan's a rider, so he goes into really like for bias reasons. Earth Durahan, who is the actual first Durahan, I believe, Durahan, goes in mixed, because I am mixed on Durahan. Dark Durahan is an actual character in the story, so I don't need to put him in mild dislike. He goes in Butabum-Tis into like. No, I actually think he goes into really like, because he's compelling. Again, wow, shocker. Hard mode version is more compelling than normal mode version. But no, he's good. He's good. I like, again, it's the same reasons I like Dark Lyrae. But it's just, I'm biased towards Lyra in general, and as you can see, and he has the same little angsty grief thing, but, like, turned up to an 11, I think that makes it a little excessive. Like, Dark Lyra is, like, a realistic take on grief. Dark Durahan is, like, Guts levels of madness, but, like, Guts is also very realistic, it just gets to a point with Durahan, and I feel like, I don't know why I brought Guts into this. Guts a very well-written character, but he's... And so is he. I don't know where I'm going with this. Water Durahan, he exists to be a contract hero. He goes in mix. Light Durahan, he exists to be, the contrast. He goes in like. I don't have much to say on Durahan, he's Bird. And another character I'm biased towards. Woo! Light Sophie goes in like, because she presents some interesting ideas that get explored with the version of her that actually goes into love this character tier. And surprise, surprise, Dark Sophie goes into I love this character tier. Dark Sophie goes here mainly because, well, for one, she's Sophie but better. But also, it digs into, like, the reality of being what she is, being a homunculus. And I think that's way more compelling than Light Sophie just being fucking insane. And again, sorry about the cursing, but I think you had to just let me go on the cursing here, because I'm trying, but I just get kind of hyped up. Sorry. Dark Sophie, like I said, just generally compelling. Earth Sophie goes here. I wish she kept the brown hair. The brown hair makes her look really good. And what's funny, the devs agree. Because her alternate outfits, you can look this up, do keep the brown hair, and you can check that on the wiki. Like, the special versions keep the brown hair, the normal versions keep the gold hair. And that's really funny, because normally, the special versions are based off the A2, and the normal versions are based off the A0 and A1. But for this, it's the opposite, because they knew how much people liked the brown hair. And I think that's really funny. Water Sulfie, oh boy. Yeah, I mean, she goes into the top of really like for biased reasons. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone who knows how much I invested into this character. She's not good. I just liked her, and so I was like, screw it. I will max her out, and I'll do all these things, because I found a bunch of her gear for cheap. And I got her to a level 12 burst. She's, in fact, the only character I got for a level 12 burst. But, she's just, and by the way, this is not an Earth Razana only tier. You will see why. She's at the top really like for biased reasons, because I want to put her in I love this character, but realistically, I am biased, so she goes here. But, she's really good. Really solid for me. Fire Sulfie goes in the bottom of really like for biased reasons, because she is sort of compelling when she's there, but she's also kind of not there. She was kind of just released as filler between the next Camelot unit, so she was kind of there. I do want to say, though, she is bumped up a little, because it was the first time I got 3 characters in one 10 pull. I remember being super excited over this, and I was up in the middle of the night, fucking prancing around, waking up my family. And I cursed again. Dang it! Okay, I'm bad at this. And I remember, because they were still doing, like, Link Summon character off rates, because they hadn't done Link Summoning yet. So Dark Crom was on the banner, and I really wanted him. And so I pulled for Fire Sulfie. The game crashed because my phone was a piece of crap. But when I loaded back in, I did see that I had her. And what's funny is the game also, I think I got her from pity, so I knew I was going to get her. When the game crashed, it stopped on Dark Crom, I believe, showing up. So I was like, oh my god, I got both! That's sick! That's exactly what I want! I just used the Lord's name in vain! Dang it! That was my reaction. That was my, like, recreation of my reaction. Silkworm. And I'm calling Silkworm out too much. I should stop. Anyway. But I was super excited. And nothing will top that moment for me of, like, opening the records to see what else I got, seeing that I got everything, letting out a sigh of relief, and then seeing my hero list had an extra number on it. And I was like, what the heck? Because I was still sorting by power rating at the time, so any new character would appear at the bottom of my list, so I didn't see. And then I checked the rating, and I had pulled Light Joshua. Whoa! Yeah, no. I have a lot of funny pull stories like that. Like, I got Earth Vanessa, who I really wanted. Spoilers, guess where she's going. From a random single pull, just done for the sake of chipping down pity, because I didn't think I was going to get her, and I got her. I got a lot of characters off rate now that I'm thinking about it, and Light Lucilica and Fire Ondal I both got off rate in the same way. Like, they were both 10 pulls, but yeah, whatever. Walther, oh boy. Okay, Light Walther is the character that's better at the mentor thing than Helga. He goes in, like, in general, Walther, well, no, because Walther's kind of still but I think that makes him a little more realistic. That he's still not completely put together, even in his old age, but, like, he still is put together. Like, he's still the hero that took down the big bad during the War of the Tyrants, and he's still the hero. He's the guy. They needed him. He was the guy. Without him, they would have lost. He was the win condition. And I think the fact he is still, like, so blatantly the youngest member of the group is very endearing. So he's there. Earth Walther is the other story Walther. That's not fire. And he goes in the top of really like, I think. Noticing a trend with Walther, I bet. He is very good. I find him extremely compelling because we were going to get an Earth Divine Walther at some point. Divine Blade Walther. And Divine Blade Walther, spoilers, guess where he's going. And the whole interesting bit with Earth Walther is that he's a murderer. And that's like the big crux. He killed Delphia's king, like himself. So to prop up Aslan, like Dark Aslan. And that's also why Dark Aslan's compelling, because of their relationship and how tied they are. And the big old men with dark pasts who were heroes together and comrades, now standing at odds. It's so cool, and I love it. So they both go here, and it's impossible to talk about one without mentioning the other. They're just really good. Firewalther, I think this is the first time I'm gonna put a extreme mode version below a previous version. It's still, no, you know what? I'll put him in really like too. I remember like he had a conflict in Extreme and Nightmare that was really good with Dark Walther. So he deserves to be here, at least, I think. He actually has some impact to the story, and I think that makes him necessary to, be in this tier. Dark Walther, a super compelling version of Walther. How callous he is, how sort of cruel he is. It's such a departure from the gentle Walther that the viewer is, also this character goes in mixed. He's Walther, but he writes love letters. that's basically it. And the thing with Dark Walther is he's so extremely compelling. He's not the goofy old man. He's like the full potential of Walther, but he's also like the worst potential of Walther. And that makes him really interesting to me. He goes in Unreleased. We didn't get him. He's a Camelot character. I can't put him there, but he can go in Unreleased. I'm not going to make Unreleased but Camelot because there's already too many tiers. Let's see. We have other cast members. Laughless. It's almost been an hour already, and we still got like 100 more to go. Well, I mean, I got through 100 in an hour, so we'll be done in another one. Laughless. He is mildly compelling. He goes in like. I find him interesting. Because it's Laughless. And again, this warrants its own video. He's really hard to explain. And Earth Laughless is just Laughless again, so he goes in like. But with the revelation of Nine and Sophie being like, he's technical children, like he's their father, and like it's this whole thing, and obviously that makes him more compelling. Water Laughless, he exists. Light Laughless, he goes in really like because he is Earth and Fire with more development, and that is good. Dark Laughless is Camelot, so by default he goes up here, but I find him the least compelling of every Camelot member because he is tragic, but not in the same way, and it kind of gets to a point where it's like obviously kind of not as strong as the rest of them, but it's still very strong character-wise because it's Lord of Heroes, so it works, but he's not the best one. Yeah, I'd call him like far from the best one. 9. Oh boy, 9. Dark 9 goes in like because of his hard mode portrayal. Not his normal mode portrayal. His normal mode portrayal sucks, but his hard mode portrayal is pretty good. It does the child soldier thing really well, but it kind of faults that by making him like extremely tied to Sophie, but also like really mature for his age because he was grown in a lab. So it kind of like it doesn't really work as well because he's a battle weapon. Like his entire existence is a battle weapon. What else is he gonna be? It kind of bites its own tail because I know that's the point, but it's a snake eating its own tail. That's the point with what I'm saying. Light 9 is literally 9 again, but it irons out every flaw with his presentation. I love Light 9. He is the child soldier plot done right with this character, because they actually make him act like a kid and not just a chunibyo for the oh, he's so childish thing, but like he still very much talks eloquently like an adult. But no, Light 9 is very much a naive child, and it works so well for him. And I find myself like genuinely moved by his words and his actions, and like the fact he's a kid in all this, like even more than with Dark 9. He goes here, and I didn't think I'd put a 9 this high, but like he goes this high. He goes with his sister. Not higher than his sister. I'm gonna make that clear. Not higher, but he goes here. Water 9. Yup. Fire 9. Yup. Earth 9. He's good, so he'll go in like. And that is all the 9s. Yeah, 9 only really works as a story character, and as a normal character, he's alright. Vanessa. Ho ho ho. This one goes into really like because it still has the same faults with normal mode storytelling, but she's still good, and I'd actually put her above some of the extreme mode and hard mode versions, and that should say a lot about Vanessa as a consistently well-written character. Her ties to Gallus, which is again the most interesting nation in the game because it's Gallus, are extremely well done, even in this interpretation. That doesn't leave a lot, like, for you to really chew on, but it's still good, and I think that warrants her a spot in really like. Fire Vanessa is the other story Vanessa before she gets really good. She also goes in really like, just slightly better. It gets into her more personal relationships a little more, and, like, she has this cute little friendship with Fire Astrid, but it's not present in Extreme because Astrid left the Empire pretty early on to meet up with you in Lumisade, and that's like the big change in Extreme mode with Astrid's character, because it takes another turn. So there's not really much Fire Astrid. So yeah, Fire Vanessa is inconsequential. I think she's necessary, but like it could have been like just as easily Water Vanessa, and nothing would have changed, I feel. So she goes into really like because she got that story development. Water, speaking of, she should go into mild dislike, honestly, but because it's Vanessa, I'll put her in mixed. Because like it's still Vanessa, and she was one of the only revived clerics for a while, so you didn't need her if you didn't have like Moo. But she's not that great, and it doesn't help that she doesn't really have a lot of story to tell. So yeah, she's just there. She goes into love this character. Surprise, surprise. Extreme mode goes into I love this character. But she is extremely solid. I think that she is extremely solid because of Light and Fire Vanessa, but I'll still put her here. She just expands on the two things that they set up. It's like a perfect fusion of Light and Fire Vanessa's roles in the story, so it makes her, again, really compelling, and she goes there. But that's all I really have to say. Dark Vanessa goes up here. Ooh. Again, it's a Camelot character, so they go in the top of I love this character tier, but the thing with her in regards to Camelot is it actually got focus in Records of Camelot, so there's actually things I can say. And I would love to say more, but we're running low on time, and it's late for me. So I will say that her portrayal is really well done, and I really like the Maiden of Sleep thing she has going on, and it's good. It's good. It's good stuff, but it's too much to go into in a tier list video where I have to go through every character. So if I make a video on every character, pointless as it would be, I will definitely go more into it. Oh boy, it's the Joshies, the Joshuas. A lot of them are going here. Joshua's kind of that character. Like Joshua goes in really like, by the way. Joshua's kind of that, and so does Earth goes into really like for biased reasons, actually. But Fire is kind of, and Water and Dark, because it's still actually Water Joshua's funny. Yeah, I'm a little less biased against Joshua. But yeah, no. Yeah, Joshua's kind of most of the time. And then he gets really compelling as Light Joshua. Earth Joshua has a thing with the orphans, and Water Joshua is just a lazy ass, which is really funny. But aside from that, it doesn't really get much, like, it doesn't really get much better than that. And I feel like that's kind of sad for a character in Lord of Heroes. Like, we're judging this by Lord of Heroes standards, and he's not that great. But, he's still good. Alev. Alev goes in mild dislike. No, she doesn't. I'm kidding. She goes in like, she's okay. Her mercenary air thing is really good. Again, her water and her light versions are just better. But I find that I actually personally do like Water Alev way more because her dynamic with Sophie is much more hateful. And that's a really interesting portrayal of that relationship. And I find it incredibly intriguing. And then Light Alev doesn't really interact with Sophie that much, I'm going to be honest, if I remember correctly. But they kind of exist together. They don't really have the bond of being sisters that the other Alev-Sophie relationships have, kind of. So it's not as compelling. And Water Alev also doesn't have the sister relationship, but it's replaced with something. And it doesn't do anything else. It's replaced, at least. Earth Alev is contract hero. She goes mixed. And Earth Alev is, again, a contract hero. Well, she gets a story. Well, I guess every contract hero does. She can go mixed still, but she exists, and yeah, okay, here we are. We're just gonna move right along to Dark Alev, who is the mercenary queen of Dakion. In her timeline, baby, she committed several war crimes. Fire, fire, fire. She exists. She's a Camelot character, so she's well written by default, but she's kind of just there sometimes. Like in Nightmare mode, she's kind of there. Records of Camelot expanded on her a little more, and that was super necessary because she needed that. But at the end of the day, she's still just a good character, but when put on the standards of Camelot, she still meets them. It's just not as good as it could have been. Still better than Dark Laughless, though, who is hyper reliant on another character to be good. And we'll get to him later. Beretta! She goes into really like, and spoiler alert, blue and red go into really like for biased reasons. And Earth Beretta, little caramel cat, goes into I love this character because she's adorable. And Beretta has the whole reformed assassin thing. That's really good. These guys, I have something similar, but it's not as good because they're not like proper story characters, and they also aren't like really cute like Earth Beretta is. So it's kind of I think I actually should put her in really like for bias reasons because it's the same reasons, but I'm just being picky. I'm being a picky bitch. So yeah, here we are. That's where she goes. Really like for bias reasons. And oh, look at that, we're almost done. Sick. Lynn goes into like because she is Lynn, and I think this is what she deserves to be in. She deserves to go into like. Yeah. So, and then Earthling goes into didn't get this character, and most people didn't get this character. I just want to make that clear. By contrast, most people did get this character because she was free, and she is okay. She's a good She's a good striker. Good. She stops at good. She has a 5x on her burst. She had a 5x on her burst. Oh my god, the past tense. And I said the Lord's name in vain again. I'm trying. Anyway. And then that's kind of where it taps out. She has this interesting thing of traveling between worlds, and it's kind of the same with Water Mikhail. Where did I put him? He's here. It's kind of the same thing with Water Mikhail, but with Water Mikhail, he's a gacha unit, so I'm a little harsher on him than this character you got for free, and was tied to the new Temporal Rift mode when that was new. But when that was new 2 years ago. And yeah, she's present and accounted for. Firelin was meta for like most of the game. I do only want to put her in like though because she's well, I'll put her with her sibling and her sister-in-law. She is okay. And for that matter, no, she should be next to her brother. There we go. Rashad. Oh boy, Rashad. Fire Rashad. You are the biggest like I have ever had. You're the biggest just like. You go in the middle of like. That's how like you are. You're just funny sometimes, but you can get kind of grating. Light Rashad, funnily enough, another example of a later version of the character and a later story mode being better, despite the fact there are barely any new variants after Extreme. So yeah, no, she, what the fuck? He goes in really like because I like. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't. Actually, neither of these Rashads go in those tiers, because I didn't get either of them. Ain't that some crap, man? But yeah, no, ain't that some stuff. Yeah, no, yeah, both of them go here. But, like, the things I say about them still apply. They are still good. Earth Rashad was free, so he goes in like. And, yeah, that's the minimum for a free character, I think. Which is funny because I put Water Helga and Earth Olivia here, but shh. Anyway, he is just Rashad again. He doesn't have a lot about him. Actually, I'm gonna put you in mild dislike, Water Rashad, because you're just Rashad, but you have a 3 million renowned gate on your butt at all times. So you know what? Actually, my first don't like is you, specifically because of the way you're obtained. I just don't. No. Dark Rashad, a Camelot character. Really compelling. He has this whole thing with the old ones. He is... Again, he's really good, and he was apparently going to be a cleric that used Berserk, which is different. A different way to do a cleric, which is extremely interesting again. But he goes here, because we never got him. And that's... Yeah, and you know how I feel about the characters we never got, so he goes there. Bianca, you go in mixed, because I am mixed on you. And Fire Bianca, you will go into really like for bias reasons, because I like your playstyle. And I also think your character design in general is better than hers. Dark Bianca, nothing to say on you. You have a couple comments and you're in release, so you go in there. Sifreed, oh boy, she goes into really high up on really like. She is extremely solid character. She's the leader of the Tyrant Heroes, and that is her main draw. She is the leader. She takes charge. She knows what she's doing. And she's also a healer, which is never the leader in these kinds of situations. It's never the healer. So it's extra interesting because she's an ancient dragon descendant, which is pretty cool, and she's just fun. I like her. Again, another character I could just rant about for an hour if I needed to. Fire Striker, Fire Sifreed, she goes into really like for bias reasons, as does her Dark Sniper counterpart. They're both still Sifreed, so they're both still compelling. They're both still good characters. They're compelling for different reasons than Light Siegfried, but they don't actually have a story presence. So unfortunately, as cool as I find them and as cool as their trailers made them out to be, they go here. And again, that sucks because they are good. They are really good. But yeah, no, they go there. Ricardo, he is same thing, mixed. He's fun, but he's mixed, and literally. But no, gosh. But I find him okay. He doesn't really do much, and it's the same with Water Ricardo, except no, actually, Water Ricardo goes in a mild dislike because you are not a character. You are a money grabber, which is ironic because Ricardo's not that popular. And then, yeah, he goes with Dark Bianca. This isn't surprising. I do want to point out the funny little juxtaposition of Water Bianca being effective against Fire Ricardo, and that's the duo we're introduced to with these characters. And, like, Bianca's always scolding Ricardo. Their element choices were smart. I'll give them that, but I'm still largely mixed on them. Brandon Kurzweil. Oh boy, this is going to be controversial. I'm going to put him in mixed. He is okay. Again, and it's not because I don't find him compelling, but I just don't really like Brandon. And spoiler alert on where Brant's going to be, but I don't really like Brandon. Like, I get what his character is meant to invoke. I really do. And I really do understand. But it just gets to a point where the fire is burning down your house, and at some point you just got to step out of it. It's frustrating dealing with Brandon, and I know that's intentional, so maybe I should put him in like after all, but I just find him personally frustrating because he reminds me too much of me. So Earth Brandon, not a character. He goes in mixed. I mean, he's just not a character. I don't know what else to say. He's not a character. And you know what? He also goes here because he's just a gotcha grab. And he's just there to be filler. So you know what? He's there. Mild dislike. Light Brandon goes into Camelot because he is, again, an interesting Camelot character. But I find Light Brandon has the same issues, but they dial up the crazy to an 11, and that makes it really good. Like, you feel the, like, crazy on him, and it just makes him, like, more stand out to me as a character. And I find that compelling. So, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to DK Helga, who goes into I love this character tier because she is, again, just Helga but better. Surprise, surprise. She was better in her prime. DK Helga, she is a hothead, but she's a well-meaning hothead, and she has her moments where she'll just surprise you with how good she is as a character, and I find that incredible that they can accomplish that. You know what? Let's do all the other ones while we're here. Mercenary Aslan, he goes in really like, possibly high in really like, because he speaks to me on a personal level, like a lot of the characters in this game did, but he just speaks to me on a personal level. I find him incredibly compelling because of that, because I just get him. I understand him. I want to hug him. Okay, and then, well, where is he? Where's my boy? There he is. There's my goat. There's my goat. Divine Blade Walther. Now, I had a bit of an eye roll with, like, Balmung being a Chosen One sword and, like, not earned on merit. But, like, he was 15. This was never going to happen without that. And furthermore, it makes him so much more interesting. Like, I didn't think they'd do the Chosen One plot well. They did. They really did. I was sufficiently surprised by how much I like Divine Blade Walther. Maybe it's just because he's, like, the main character class. Like, some would think it's Water Guardian because Fram, but no, it's more like Light Warrior. That's the main character class because of, again, Light Johann being Light Johann. The thing is that Light Walther is literally the main character of War of the Tyrants. He is the hero. He is the guy that they needed. He is the guy, quote unquote, and he made everything possible. And for that, he goes in here because I find that extremely interesting in a game that largely promotes merit. So having him here is really interesting, and I find it the way they did it done well. Ondal. Yeah, you can go with Siegfried. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I'll elaborate. He comes from a place that is far lost to him. He will never return to it. He knows this. He knows he can never have what he have, so he sacrifices himself. And I find that extremely good that he chose to, instead of chasing after something that he'd never have, he decided to give everyone else a chance to forge their own future and go back to his loved ones. And I find that, again, extremely compelling. His character would be far less compelling without his death. I'll just say that. Without him dying, and him dying isn't a spoiler, it's said in normal mode. Him dying is like the big spark alongside Arcanath and Ahilam, that like Ahilam, whatever, however you say her name. She's high on this list too, by the way. That gets the group like really going in the final battle. Like it forges a path for them that I find extremely important. And the fact he goes down while they're all facing the Dark Ram, and it's so... It was so necessary for him to do it. So it makes it more compelling that even if it wasn't... that even, like, in a scenario... Like, if he was put in the scenario dozens more times, because we know there's so many more Ondals, he would do it again. And that is... like, it's just great. So you know what? I'm gonna put him here. And I'm also gonna put Siegfried here by comparison. He's just really good. He's really good, and you know it's he's just really good. Fire Ondal, I mean, I like him. He looks cool, but that's about where it ends. He goes in biased reasons. But yeah, no, he was filler. So yeah, not much else to say. Dark Ondal, ho ho ho. Speaking of compelling characters, the idea of an Ondal that was pulled from his reality is so good, and it frustrates me we didn't get to learn more about him, but with what we have, he's really good, and he's funny, he bounces off the rest of Camelot well, he's actually more of a comic relief than you'd think, and it's extremely endearing, and I find that he is a very necessary presence in the group. Even if he doesn't add a lot of story context, he is still absolutely necessary. And it's funny, because in Nightmare Mode, everybody's there with like their copies, except him. He's alone. The Eternal Wanderer, forever to wander. It's so sad. Alright, we're going to do Biryu first, because he's like their leader, even though Aaron is first in line, because she released first. Biryu, he is a character I find kind of grating at times, but at other times he's really good. But at sometimes he can just kind of be nothing, and that's really frustrating. And then you two go into mild dislike because you're cash grabs, and Fire Biryu's good, so we can go in mixed, because he was kind of unnecessary. And if they were going to make a filler unit, might as well be for a character who didn't have any alts at the time. This character, he introduced Overcharge, and like 2 characters got it before the game closed. Whatever. We're going to do Aaron now. Aaron is significantly more of like robust compared to Biryu, and I find that, again, interesting. Earth... Aaron, admittedly she's carried by the fact that she's a good memory for me. That I was home, really sick one day, and I decided to just 10 pull, see if something would happen that would make me feel better. And it did, and I got her, and she was, like, propped up as really good at the time, and then she got immediately outclassed. But, like, at the time, she was the new meta for, like, Temporal Rift, and so I needed her. So I was just glad I got her in just a mere 10 pull, instead of having to use 90. So, admittedly, it's bias, but she's here. And Water Aaron is really good, so she goes in mixed, but she is a filler character. Light Ian, same thing with Aaron, actually more so, so I'll put him in really like. Yeah, my favorite member of the trio is Ian. He is combative, and in a game with a lot of characters who are very compliant, I want to say Rosanna isn't, and I think that's also why I like her so much. But, so, you know what? Yeah, you get to go. And you two just... Actually, yeah, you're a story character. You both go here. And then Fire Rosanna, it just gets to coast by being Rosanna. And you know what? I think that's fair. So, you know what? We're going to make some quick adjustments, I want to say. We're going to make some quick and easy adjustments to this tier list. Yep, there we go. I think that's fair. I think everybody understands where I stand in regards to these characters now. I think everybody gets it. I think everybody understands. So, oh yeah, well, he's an Ondal. So, and I think I'm more attached to Ondal personally. Like, this is unrelated to the game because Ashius is his favorite character, and Ashius is like my bro, and I really like Ashius. So, because he really likes Ondal, I also conversely really like Ashius. So. Or, I also conversely like Ondal, because he reminds me of Ashius, and that makes me happy. But he is good on his own merits for all the reasons I mentioned. Anyway, what were we talking about? Fuck, I lose my train of thought. Ian. Autism, guys, sorry. Ian is... Again, he's a combative character in a sea of characters that are, like, compliant and logical and all this other nonsense. So he's good for that. And conversely, you might be saying the same thing for Brandon, but again, Brandon is frustrating to me on a personal level, while Ian is not. He's just an asshole, and I feel... And he's an asshole with depth. And normally, in most games, he'd just be an asshole, and no one would know why they keep making skins for him. But you know what? With Ian, he's an actual developed character because he's in Lord of Heroes. And then, okay, yeah. Water Ian, like, as the juxtaposition, I like his concept, but, again, they are just filler. They are just filler at the end of the day, and I don't... They are filler. Both Césaires go here, and I don't just group them in because they're the same character. They're completely different, actually. But both Césaires are extremely compelling. Water Césaire especially, like, kind of seeming like a traitor-ish when you actually encounter her in the main story. She's also free, by the way. Unlike this one. She's free. Light Césaire was a permanent off-rate for a bit. For actually the entire last leg of the game, she was. So for, like 2 years. I had her maxed out on aptitudes, actually. Which happened on complete accident. But no, Césaire is up here because she's Césaire. She has to be. I don't think that's a hot take. In fact, I think that's a very cold take that she's up here. Very cold, like chilled in a refrigerator cold. Yeah. No, she's there. And then Water Césaire is the opposite of Césaire, which makes her compelling because she's the opposite of Césaire. Again, same principle with the Johans. Let's see. Where is... Do I rank the collab characters separately? I guess I could rank them based on, like, how well I like them in Code Geass. Moving on to Charles. This is the Charles specifically that's in Extreme and Beyond, because it's the Charles that's actually, like, a real character with real beliefs and not just a stand-in for fascism. So he goes in like, and I find that compelling. Earth Charles, he is in a Camelot story, but he doesn't get the Camelot buff of just being inherently compelling because it's Camelot. So he goes in really because he impacts Light Crom especially well, and he was actually released. Unlike Dark Zyra. Miriand, but he's another war hero. He doesn't really but the thing with Miriand is he's kind of a dick, but like he's a dick in an endearing way, not in a combative way like Ian kind of is. He's just like he's actually extremely helpful, unlike Ian. Well, Ian's helpful in combat. You probably know what I mean. But Miriand is incredibly intelligent. The joke is that he's a giant who's also a mage, and that's very funny. He's also immortal for some reason. I don't know why. He doesn't age. And then, yep, you already know, filler. This one gets passed because he's good. You're hard to build. You go here. So, yeah, no. And we're rating these based off of Code Geass. So, I guess Lelouch goes here. They're all going to go there. What am I saying? CC, even if I was rating it based on their performance in the game, CC is, like, still the best shielder in the game, actually. From the 3 years after she released, she's still the best. Which is very funny, because she only ran once, and if you didn't get her when you were playing at the time, you snooze, you lose. Sorry, buddy. Suzaku... You know why I'd find these characters compelling. I'm not going to go into, like, Code Geass in the fucking... and I'm not going to curse again. Dang it! I'm not going to go into Code Geass in the Lord of Heroes video, but just take my word for it, I like them. I'm actually going to adjust that order there. There we go. Ikateztol. Alright, well, here's a really liked for biased reasons that I really love. Yep, I love this character and really like for biased reasons. Yep, here's Ikateztol. I think she's extremely pretty. And of course she's also compelling. And I like the, like, fish out of water thing and not understanding humans. And she likes gold because it's not because it's currency, but because it's shiny. And I think that's adorable. Like, again, it's cute. It's cute. It's good stuff. And I just find her dynamic with her Zellic also really good. But, yeah, she is hard carried by her being utterly gorgeous. She is genuinely gorgeous. I can't, and I'm not even saying this because, like, chest, like, she's just genuinely really pretty. Like, she has a small chest even, so you can't even accuse me of that. Oh boy. You're getting a lot of lore dumps, people who aren't in the main server. Alright, Ruin. Alright, here is the big boy. He goes right in here. He goes up here, of course, and, you know what, for being the best written in the first arc, you should be right next to Astrid, shouldn't you? But yeah, no. Light Ruin, he's Ruin. He's your administrator. He was the first monarch of Avalon. And with all the bearings that come with that, we were apparently supposed to originally get a Records of Ruin at some point that would have expanded on the events that happened 500 years ago, and it was going to be sick, but we didn't get it. So, that's all I can really say about him. He's a kind of disgraced king character. And I find this version shock of the century because it's Camelot infinitely more compelling. He is from the Dark main character's original reality. So he was, like, with him, like, in the end. Like, when everything was collapsing. It's heavily implied Dark Frame was the first one they recruited, but Dark Ruin was always his administrator, which is why his title is your administrator. But yeah, no, he's compelling for the same reason. All the Camelot characters are compelling, and I mean, that's just all I have to say, really. Like, he's good. Earth Ruin was a cash grab, but he was good, so he goes in mixed, and that is it for Ruin. So we're moving on to Rozelic, who she goes into like, and she goes into mixed because this is a cash grab, and she doesn't have the benefit of me really liking Ikateztol. But I like Rozelic's character because she's paired with Ikateztol. I think she works way better as, like, the pair-up buddy for Ikateztol. And the actual, like, conflict clash that they had in the end of Book of Truth, where they were actually, like, fighting opposite to each other, that endeared me to her way more, that she had the capacity to disagree with Ikateztol. So, you know, she got bumped up from mixed to like, and I think that's good enough for her. Brant Kurzweil. Oh boy. Okay, here he is. Brant Kurzweil is a character in this video game. He is going into mixed, and both of these are going into dislike. I don't care how good they are. He is Brandon without the angst, basically. He's like before the angst. There's not a lot to say about Brant. He's still interesting, but I'm just not big on him. He goes in mixed, though. And then we have Oswald, who goes into really like, because he's Oswald and he's hilarious. And then we have Blue Oswald, who is a cash grab, and he goes into mild dislike because of it. Natalie, actual character, so I can actually rate her. She goes into really like. But, you know. You know, she's just compelling. She's his twin. They're the same. They were birthed on the same day. So she is, you know, she already has that, like, connection with Oswald that, like, bridged it. She's also, of course, gorgeous. But what really drove her home for me is the fact that she's, like, constantly sick. She's very frail, and yet she wants to fight anyway. And I find that incredibly brave, which speaks to me as a coward. And I find myself admiring her quite a bit. Ralagon, he has to go here. I mean, he's just really good. He's good. Like, not like game good, he's a good character. And I feel like if you're just a really solid character, you should go here. And like a really solid character who impacted every other one, like, in such a huge way. You are necessary. You are the reason, technically, that Walther was able to finally awaken and, like, unleash the power. Dark Ralagon is a cash grab. He goes in mild dislike. I mean, he was okay, I guess. I didn't really have much experience with using him, and from what I heard, he wasn't that good. So, you know, yeah. I mean, I had him, so there's that. But actually, did I put anyone I didn't get? And I don't think I had Earth Beerus, so he goes into didn't get him. I had Earth Brant, I believe. Let me check, actually, because, oh, yeah, shit, Dark Aslan goes down there. I completely forgot. I didn't spend 10 million renown to get him. Let's just do the, characters I didn't get now, because, you know, just why not? Let's just get them over with, and I think getting them over with is necessary. Let's see. Which characters did I not have? Yeah, Earthbeeru I didn't have. Friedheart I didn't have. And Friedheart is compelling, don't get me wrong. I just didn't have him. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were other characters I didn't have. Let me go through here. I guess I accidentally put them on the list. Oh, Water Ricardo I didn't have. So that's 8. And then... Oh! I somehow also didn't get Light Ruin. I guess he has to go there. But, like, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I didn't get him. But, yeah, same. Everything I said about them still applies. It's just I have to put them here, unfortunately, because it just doesn't feel fair to rate them when I didn't get to see any of their comments. So, yeah, that sucks, but what are you going to do? Fire Rhea, she's kind of compelling, I'd say. she's like, she's kind of, again, she's just kind of there, and I think her being there, don't get me wrong, improves the story, but she wasn't necessary. And then, speaking of unnecessary, we'll just do them right now. Ares, no. I don't like that you're in this game as a playable character. In fact, I don't think you should have been playable. You took a slot away from an actual character, and I'm annoyed at that, so you get to go in there. In fact, yeah, I'm serious, actually. Yeah, no, you're going there. Let's actually go through the NPCs while we're down here. You go here. And technically, we can put Emperor Cardus in Unreleased, and we'll go over that in a second once I, actually we'll put him back for now, and we'll go over that when I actually get to him. So, NPCs, technically they are playable, but not like actually, so they go here, and same for her. She would have been released eventually, so I'm fine putting her here. NPC, boss, NPC... And I technically these guys are also that. All right, Arcanath. She is a widow, so she is available. She's a widow. She sacrifices herself to go with Dartel, and it's her husband, her late husband, who died protecting her, and it's very sad. Her character. She adds, like, a much-needed sort of melancholic air to the group and, like, the brutal knowledge of death before, like, it actually starts happening with, like, Hippolyta and everyone. So, she's needed. And while we're down here, let's go to the NPCs. Camarasath, she's okay. Hippolyta, arguably the most compelling NPC in this entire game. These two, they're there to give Nibelon and the Woodlands a face before they get blown off the fucking map. Tonelli, he's alright. I cursed again, I just realized. Epsilon, extremely interesting take on a terminal, but she's a boss, so she goes here. And Galleon is an NPC, a compelling NPC, but an NPC nonetheless. And Kane, unfortunately, also goes here, even though I really like Kane, just to be consistent with my rules. And Light... Halam is compelling in the same way Arcanath is. Her whole thing is protecting humanity, so it gets kind of grating. But other than that, like, she has the same, like, method reason for sacrificing herself that's, like, super compelling that the other two sacrificees do, and Ralagon, I guess, as well. But she even says multiple times, if she has to die fighting for humanity, so be it. That's what she's gonna do. And the fact you know what? I'm actually gonna put her in love because, like, I'm realizing now the tragedy of her being forced to just come at humanity's beck and call and die over and over with no memory of it in her previous incarnations kind of sucks. But, like, sucks in a good way. Like, it's really compelling. Really solid, really good stuff. Water Halam, she's a cash grab. She goes mild dislike by default. Prince Cardus, oh boy, we go into love this character tier by far. I actually might put him above everybody but Dark Johan. He's super good. He's really good. Prince Cardus, we got this exposure to him in the time before he started being a returner and did all the loops, and he's also broken. He was also broken, like crazy broken, but, you know, like, broken in a fun way. Like, he was good. And Cardus as a character is already extremely compelling, and we know how it ends for him. So we know how this is going to go, but he doesn't. And it just makes you keep thinking about it. We know how this ends. We know how this story goes. And yet we still have to watch him live through it. And it's just the fact that the Theodric gut punch was brutal, man. I like, poor guy. Scalene. She's another Records character. She's good. I find her compelling, at least, but we didn't get to know much about her. I can see the seeds of what she was going to be, so I'll put her here, assuming what she was going to be, but I can see it. I can especially see it, but she never got it, and that's frustrating. A lot of things were left on a cliffhanger, and it sucks. Unreleased, she was a comment. I believe there was also Light Mikhail and Light Yul as well. This is Dark Yul. Light Mikhail and Light Yul as well were unreleased and also in the comments, but they're just not in this list, so unfortunate, but they're not there. Water Yul, on the other hand, is the other of the 4 elects, and she goes into love this character. She is really good. I that might be a little bit of bias talking because I find her pretty, but she's just so good at like getting across what she's meant to get across, and I feel like I'm just super endeared to her because of like her past and her traumas, and like feeling like she's kind of just like going through the motions until she gets killed by the one she serves, and it's kind of super compelling. Lion, here he is. He goes into really like because his characterization is entirely based on Lyre and how good that is. So yeah, no, but he's also really good. I find Lion as a character extremely bland, but he's kind of saved by the fact he's Lyra's brother, and thus enhances a character I already like super well to the point where so he goes here actually, but I think I'm being a little unfair to Lion, but I think he's still, I still really like him, so he goes there. And for the last playable character, Fire Theodric, and I can't really say much on him. He's alike. He kind of anticlimactic, I know, but we're gonna go over Cardis, so it's fine. But I find him intriguing in the same way you find like staring at your murderer intriguing. I don't know what his deal was, and yet that's the note the game ended on. Okay. But yeah, no. He for what was there was compelling. And this goes into NPC because specifically K. But yeah, we can actually put him in Unreleased because we know we were going to get Emperor Cardis this year. Probably as the anniversary unit, but they just didn't have the funds. So we didn't get him. But Emperor Cardis... Oh, man. I won't go into it because it's already so long of a video, but Cardis is an extremely compelling character, and I find him so fascinating that, again, he needs his own video. It's just... He needs his own proper video, anyway. Not this unedited schlock. He's good, but like in the same way, like there's no even like two ways about it. He's good. And he's even better as K. When he's like kind of just going with the motions of life now. But Emperor Cardis is like the tragic returner. It's really good. It's really good, and I think that makes him, of course, one of the best characters in the game. But obviously, he's unreleased, and we know he's unreleased, so he has to go here. And that would be the end of... Okay, well, hold on. Just add this to my... yeah, hold on. I had to save that image. Sorry, hold on. That doobie-doo. But yeah, that is the Arbiter tier list of his Lord of Heroes characters, not based on combat, like quality in the game, or based on... Well, not based on specifically that, and not based on, like, whether or not, like, the waifu tier list. Like, the waifu tier list would be completely different. But, you know. But, like, yeah, no. This is about where it should be, honestly. This is the tier list, and this is just what the tier list is. and it will never change. This is the tier list. All right. That'll be all. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe for more videos like this. If you want me to do videos going into depth of the characters of this dead game, leave a comment telling me that you want that, and I will. So until then, I am Arbiter, and I'm signing off, formerly Wordsman.